Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Janet P. How are you?
Oh,
Good to see you.
Chat comment. Hang on. Put the comments on here. Hey. Hi, Janet P.
Let's see here.
Hey.
Okay, I gotta make my thing go away. There. Okay. Now we don't have any extra things. Well, what I was thinking, first and foremost, I wanted to say thank you for coming. And we are going to we're going to just kind of chat and see what happens, and then we'll do readings at the end. But Sophie isn't here tonight because she had a tooth pulled Friday, and her nephew or her nieces, both of her nieces and her brother had COVID, and now Sophie does too. So she's just pretty beat. So everybody kind of send her as much energy as you can.
Yeah. Lots of healing energy to Sophie and her family, her brother and the kids and everything. So yeah. Hi everyone. I'll just say wave hello a couple of times, okay, during the thing. So that's a hello to everyone who's joined, okay, when you see that.
Hi, Vivian and Butterfly Kisses and Janet P. and Lauren Hunsinger. Good evening.
Brooke Angel.
Hello. Yeah, Atlanta, Brooklyn gal.
Brooklyn gal.
Yeah.
My reading. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of wanting to know more about you personally, as far as I wondered, I know you, like me, do the tarot, but before the tarot, did you have any other experiences, kind of like things like I've done Reiki forever, and I've been empathic, intuitive all my life, and I just kind of wondered what's your story?
Family history of tarot on my mum's side, of those sorts of things. We have some Romanians, and I really, before started doing the tarot, really did virtually nothing to do with that side. It was just something I never really thought about. My mum would tell my future a couple of times a year, always with the same story, getting married and all that. A couple of odd occasions where some things come out from that side of the family, from my mum's side of the family. Not trying to be obtuse or anything, but just a couple of incidences. Like my mum would freak my sister out once, and I said, I'm going to have to buy an alarm clock. And the day before I went shopping for it, my mum and my sister were in the shop, the Coles in Ingham, where we lived, and Mum said, Chrissy's going to buy a clock, and she pointed over and she pointed at something. She's going to buy that one there tomorrow. And I had no idea what I was going to buy. And I went out shopping the next day, and then I went over to my sister's place, and I said, look at the cool clock I found, because I saw it. That's the one. And she said, oh God, Mum told me you'd buy that clock. A little thing. you know, and some things when you know something is wrong, like I had that experience with one of my nieces and nephews. Got a lot of them, so but I just knew that something was wrong with one of them. And I called up my mum and she said, "Oh yeah, such and such has had this happen," and so not completely ignored lifelong, but not really delved into. But yeah, it's been something on our side that's been known. They're not full on psychic or anything like that, but just a part of our genetic makeup, I suppose you could call it.
Yeah.
From my mum's side.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's so much. I don't want to say easier because nothing's easy in life, but it's so much more fulfilling to you when other people in your family understand what you're doing.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And it's not like I was ever a skeptic or anything like that. I was always willing to look at those things and with some family members. I know that some family members have been seeing psychics for years and this, that and the other. And one family member, they astral travel. So it's not something that I was completely unaware of or ignorant of or anything. I just never thought I'd pick it up myself and work with it myself. It's just nothing I really thought about. And then when I started watching the videos and stuff, and and it sort of also filled a void because I knew there was something that wasn't fulfilled within me, and that did it. It settled me down an awful lot.
Yeah.
And just opening myself up to that.
Yeah. I mean, whenever I go a whole week, like I have headaches or whatever, and I go a whole week without my cards, it's like I feel like I have, I haven't talked to somebody in a long time. You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, it's like I miss it,
Oh yeah, I will sometimes when I get super busy with other things, and unfortunately that happens. It's like before I started the channel and all that, there would be some breaks before I'd have a chance to do it, and I'd always feel so much better when I did it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Hi, Ron.
Hi, Ron. Oh, hello, Ange. Tiny Trinkets and Tarot. She is so cool.
Okay.
And Faye Tarot.
Ron, if you have the link to Ben's Tarot in England, his channel, can you please email it to me? Because I've been trying to find his channel to subscribe and I can't. The Young English dude. I subscribed to Tarot Staff, so I'm looking forward to that. And hey, Jay.
Isn't he cool?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch yet, but yeah. So yeah, it's just always been a part of on my mum's side of the family. Something you grow up hearing about occasionally and stuff like that. But yeah, it's
and I think that you are kind of like me in that in my nursing career, it was like all my metaphysical kind of stuff kind of took a back seat, and the scientific part of me stepped forward and took all my focus for a while.
Yeah, it can do that. Yeah, because you've got to learn, you've got to go out, you've got to work, you've got to learn jobs and all that. But to me, I work in a very visual field. And I love, and as a lot of people will know, I love the visual with the cards as well. I'm really drawn to the visual. And the way I get words pop into my head, it's like it's suddenly a bit of a stamp on one of my eyeballs, and I see this word come up and go away. Beneficial tarot. Okay, yeah, I've been putting in benefit. Beneficial. So I'll find him and I'll yeah. So it's sort of, yeah, self-taught, but so many readers I learned from. Of course, the wonderful Kirsten Langston, Lena, Marianne from Revealing Light, and Linda G were the big four. I would watch them all the time, watch everything I could get from them.
I mean, if you add Aley Dreams Down Under to that, you have my top my top field.
I haven't seen Aley Dreams Down Under, so yeah.
Yes,
and yeah, but there's so many wonderful readers out there, and I am subscribed to so many, and it's just physically not impossible for me to go and watch everyone every day, otherwise I'd never be out.
I know.
The front of the desk.
I know.
And so I try to catch
up.
And
I'm like sitting here looking at at YouTube at all the different readers that I have on on my feed, and I'm sitting here thinking, I've got to do the laundry. I've got to do the laundry. But it's like I try so hard to watch everybody.
One of the things, yeah, it is. Yeah, you do. And it's like, oh, okay. So if I come across someone after I do a feed and they've got a live going, I try to hop in and say hello if I'm subscribed. If not, I can subscribe straight away, but it takes an hour before you're allowed to comment. And I'm usually by that time I've had to. But yeah, if I see someone I'm subscribed to and they've got a live going, I'll pop in and I'll say hello and stuff, even if I can pop in for just a couple of minutes. And the other thing I found is amazing was teaching with my courses, because I am a mad rabid researcher. I love researching all sorts of things, and doing the research to do that course, it taught me just a whole other level, and the approach I wanted to take with it was, of course, very much in the visual as well and stuff. So it's not just learning it for myself and then sharing what I do, first with videos and then with lives, but then stepping up to teaching other people. And I'm humbled that people want me to teach them.
See, I love learning different. I read tarot books and look at, because everything I read, it's like it's from a different perspective, from a different viewpoint, and so I think that taking different courses from different people, even if you're fairly proficient at reading, it just opens your mind. It's not like you don't come at it, even if you've been doing it for 30 years, you can always learn something new about it. And that's what I think is so cool, is that there's always different perspective to it.
It is always amazing. And I just, and of course, going back and rereading some of the books that, I try to read through the books when I get a new deck, especially some of the ones that are, quite very different interpretation, and going back and rereading some of them, and then going through and having a fresh look at the cards myself and what comes into them. And I will, a couple of times a year, I will grab one or two decks and that I don't use very often, and I'll go through the book and I'll go through the cards and I'll write down notes from the book's interpretation, and I'll write down the impression that I get immediately off the card and stuff like that, and also what my usual interpretation is. And so I do review my decks on a semi-regular basis, and I think that's a good idea too, because, you know, and it's always fascinating to hear somebody. Thank you, Teresa. And it's Footprint Tarot. So, just remember that. Anyway, I forgot to put tarot on there. So, how do you protect yourself when you read for others? Okay, I always do a prayer of protection for myself.
I do too.
The white light, and I'll do that separately. And sometimes and then I do a prayer of protection for the person I'm reading on. And I do that, try to do that before I start, before they come on. But if I don't have time, then I'll do it with them. And I always ask for a white protective light, a sphere of white protective light.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask that light be placed over the house, myself, my husband, our fur babies, and the person and their family. And I ask that light keep negative energy and ill intent at bay and allow positive and loving energy to grow and foster within. So that's my basic protective prayer. And sometimes if I'm reading on someone who's a bit nasty, I might put on I've got a crystal pendant that I'll put on, or light an aura cleansing stick or a smudge stick or something. I always
I got this. It's a tourmalinated quartz, and so it's got black tourmaline in the middle of it, and like, see, you can see it. Kind of looks like a stick or something. Let me see if I can get the. And and it, quartz is, your general amplifier, and the tourmaline is protective. So you'll see me sitting here playing with it. But
crystals are on the just table at the moment.
It's
so you
just
have the there as well.
I mean, I always say a prayer, and I always smudge and open my chakras before I get set down to read. But I do the same thing with the invoking white light, pure white light.
It's very protective. I'm not I'm a spot meditator, so I'll sit down and do 2 or 3 minutes, or anything up to 10 minutes of meditation, depending on what I'm feeling like doing, and it can be at any time. And I might go days and days without doing a meditation, but then I might just sit down and do a 3-minute mindfulness thing, which I have a video for or something. It's just, when I feel like doing it.
And I really like the mindfulness that the tarot teaches as well.
I haven't looked at that yet. That's something I'll probably look into.
There's Greer. Her last name's Greer. She wrote.
Greer
I have that tarot, but it's the books. She's done several, and I cannot think of her first name, but her last name is Greer, and she's done a lot. And Benabel Wynn, her book, she's done a lot of the mindfulness.
I love mindfulness. It's something people seem to think it can take. It's something you've got to do for hours a day. But no, it can be done in 1 minute a day. It can be done in 30 seconds at a time and stuff like that. For the longest time, I have a fear of knowing that my guide does not want me to have a reading. Is this to make me rely on my own intuition? Oh, that's an interesting question. Fear. A fear or knowing. I don't know why you put the word fear in there, because to me, guides should not instill fear, and would not instill fear. Knowing is a different thing. To rely on your own intuition. It never hurts to listen to your intuition. Even if you write down a few statements, you know, my brain's telling me this, but my gut's telling me that, and have a look. But
yeah, I mean, it's the thing is, you know, your instincts are primordial, and they instill fear, but you know, your intuition takes you may be thinking, but this is so stupid, but it's telling me to go this way, and you do it, and you find out that that's the way you should have gone. But I don't know about fear.
To me, maybe it's just my opinion that a guide is not there to instill fear in you. They might say, okay, slow down and think a bit. This might not be the best situation. So yes, butterfly healing, kisses healing, that's a good thing. It could be that you have not yet found the person that you want to give you a reading, and that I think is really important.
I mean, because it's not that anybody is evil or anything like that. It's just you may not jive with that person.
Getting a reading can be a very daunting prospect, especially if you've never had one done before.
Right.
And the first time I got a proper reading, I mean, I'd had a few, you know, light readings and all that with friends, but I'd been doing the tarot for a while, and then I was at a place where I really needed some answers and some hope, and I thought, I've got to trust myself to the process before I can make any further progress with tarot.
Right.
So I put my trust in somebody to give me a proper reading, which you know, I'd had some small readings and stuff like that, but we were full on opening myself up fully to it. And it's a scary process. For me, it actually helped me grow as a reader myself, because it was then that I was able to fully open myself up to the whole thing, you know, and put my trust in it more than I ever had before. I trusted it, but then there's always, I think, for some people, that little core that they hold back, you know, and for me doing that really, I think, accelerated my growth as a reader and allowed me to, rather than come out and say, oh, this has just popped my mind, or I've seen this in my eye, or that, or this, whereas before I wouldn't do that. But it is a very personal thing, and you do have, I think you do need to feel that you've got the right person to do the reading, and vulnerability and trust is important. And just know that we as readers, if we do readings for other people, and not everyone does, I do, we have certain rules that we should follow. And so there are certain ethics. So when doing a reading, is a message sometimes for you, even though you're reading for someone? No, if you're doing a reading for somebody, you might feel a kinship towards a message because you've had a similar thing happen to you. But if you're doing a reading for somebody, if the message is for you, you're not doing it right. And you're not doing right by the person you're reading for. So, no, the message is usually always for the person you're reading for. That doesn't mean you can't think, oh,
that
wow.
doesn't mean, yeah, that doesn't mean that you
understand what this is
yeah.
because I've been a personal process, or actually I can understand that's an answer I've been looking for myself, but you leave that until after. You don't say that, you know. But no, it's usually always for the person you're reading for, because that's your job. And it's really important, because if the message is coming through for you, if you feel something coming through for you, just from the reading, it could be a side message. You just ignore it and put it aside and deal with it later. But no, the messages are always for the reader. You might emphasize with it, but no.
Well, but this Ellen Galinsky, you know, I'm not saying anything about, you know, if you have a fear or a knowing that your guide does not want you to have a reading. I'm not saying anything bad about your guide or anything. I just wanted you to know that you know, if you have a knowing, that's, you know, that's something that, you know, it's maybe edging you towards using your own intuition. But the fear was the word that I kind of locked in on.
Yeah, it's an unusual thing. And again, I think maybe you feel a warning signal, and God can send warning signals, but you might be interpreting it as a little bit of fear. That wouldn't be the guide's intent. I think anyone who had a guide that operated by only feeding you messages of fear, that's not a guide. Go and see someone who can help with that. You know?
Well, with your tarot classes, are you still doing that? Are you planning on doing it?
Yeah.
Further?
There's 6 lessons. Yes, I'll happily to continue doing them. There's 6 lessons. They are quite long, and the first one is the Major Arcana, and it can get very long. And I'm happy to split that up into 2 at no extra cost. So, so I charge $60 for all 6 lessons. If you just want to do the Major Arcana, and again, I can split the Major Arcana up in 2, and it won't add to the cost at all. If you just want to do the Major Arcana only, it's like a little bit more. It's like $15, and I add in a little bit extra. I add in a little bit of the last lesson with ethics and stuff like that. So, but yeah, if you want all 6, it's $60 for all 6, $10 a lesson, US. And if you just want the Major Arcana, I do add in a little bit extra, and it's $15 for that. And you can do it on Zoom or Messenger, whatever works best for the people, for the person. But I love doing them. I love creating them, and it is. I can really basic it down. If it's usually people who come to me, they've already had some experience reading and stuff. But if you're a total novice, I can bring it right down to the novice and stuff. And but you can email me at footprinttarot@gmail.com if you're interested in that or a reading. So,
well, hi Joe G. Well, I thought anybody who has some questions, if you want to put them in the chat, and we'll see what's what. I thought about us doing let's see, someone from the other side. Let's see if I can make that. Could someone on the other side decide to block the reading you are doing for someone? The only way that they can really block it is if it's a mediumship read.
Yeah, I don't do mediumship. I mean, I'll read on energy of people in the past, but
yeah,
I use the cards. I don't talk to people or anything like that. But that would kind of freak me out a bit. I'm not a medium myself, so that would be an area where I'm not really, well, like a direct talk to spirit medium. When I look at people who have passed or whatever.
but I really can't think of anything other thing that where someone on the other side could block it. Can you think of anything?
No. That doesn't mean they might not.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't mean that.
There's a message or something that you might say, oh, there's something sent to you. And I've had that come through with the card. A card comes up and it's such an odd card to be in the context of everything, and I hold it up and I say, look, this is this, and I'm getting to say this and this. Does that make sense to you? And sometimes someone says, oh, yes, that does make sense, to such and such was like that. But it's, I've never had any experience of someone blocking me from reading on somebody. No.
Well, I thought about us reading on either we could do anything, but I thought about the my mind just went blank. Oh, that's okay. I'm just.
You're my host, my darling. I will go wherever you want to lead me.
Let's see. Many years ago, a guy had cards at a party and tried to read for me. I told him no. He got spooked at what he saw and put the cards away and apologized. Well, sometimes we have spirit guides when somebody's trying to yank our chain, and our spirit guides will step in and say, no, you're not going to do that. And that's probably why he put the cards away and apologized. Because
honestly, if you tell someone no, I don't want you, and they didn't respect that, if I was a spirit guide, I'd be getting in their face too. I'm so sorry that happened to you, Joji, too, because it was very irresponsible. And I also get the feeling that this person did not respect the cards at all.
Yeah.
Had no respect for them.
Yeah, because if I ask somebody if they want me to read for them and they tell me no, I'm like, cool. You don't ever. Yeah. That's a violation. A violation. Hi, Dozen Cats for me. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Hi, Kelly.
I wanted to say again that Sophie's not feeling well. She has COVID, and she's still okay. She's still texting me and everything, but I wanted everybody who was in here to send her some love and healing energy.
That's absolutely right.
Let's see. How do I clear my energy? Haven't been feeling like myself lately. Can you please pull a card for me? Let's see if I can find it in the chat. Hang on. There we go.
How do I clear my energy? Wow. When I want to clear my energy, that it can just depend on a number of things. In the practical, for me, my surrounding environment, if I feel like my desk area and all that is getting too out of control, I like tidy it, and that feels better, and the energy around it feels better. So it could be that maybe your physical environment, you just need to, or for me, I do a chakra rebalance. It takes about 10 minutes. And also, I will sometimes put on aura cleansing stick or just an incense stick, or even just put some essential oils on an oil burner. Citrus is wonderful for cleansing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use sage myself because I have high blood pressure. Yeah, and if you do have blood pressure problems, always think carefully about sage.
I use Palo Santo.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, what I have. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
a great little cleansing one.
Yeah, and it's not as quite as accurate as sage, and I'm allergic to sage, so I can't.
I'm allergic to geranium oil. I can pick up geranium and stuff, but if I touch geranium oil, or even a bottle that's had it in it, and I have a little bit, even diluted geranium oil, it's like burn all around my face and stuff like that. So yeah, always, yeah. If you haven't used oils before and you're thinking about using them,
let's see. Pull a card for me and tell them this. Tell them message.
I'll pull you an oracle card too, my darling, Atlanta, Brooklyn girl. So let's see. Hi, Sheila at Angel Feather. How are you, my dear? You're going to have to join up with me.
Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous?
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah.
It says Medicine Guardian. Be open to healing information. A lot of times you don't know what you don't see. You don't realize what you're doing because you don't see it. And sometimes we need information, and we need to think about it as medicine. And, a shadow reading or doing a shadow reading on ourselves can take things that we are too close to be able to see. And just like stepping closer to the wall makes our shadow decrease, taking that medicine that we need and applying it to our lives can be so healing, can make you expand in so many different ways. Being open to information. We're not perfect. We are human. So being open and realizing that all information it may not be easy to hear, but it is something that will make us grow. That's what the medicine part is. It's something to complete our growth. And so when you learn a new thing and you apply it to yourself and you're thinking, oh God, this doesn't make me look good. Well, the thing that makes you look good is the fact that you realize that you have that whatever hanging over your head, and you step into it and work through it. That is, it's a great card.
Okay, I've got the Whispers of Healing deck here. Okay, and it's a lovely deck. And what came out was alternative. This is the card here. Okay, now it starts talking about, yes, there are lots of alternatives to Western medicine and taking a holistic approach. But remember, and the card says this too, is that does not mean you ignore doctors and doctors' advice, okay? It just means that looking after the physical is one aspect, and then you can address your social and your emotional and mental and spiritual factors as well as the physical ones, okay? So I do like that aspect about these cards. They don't say chuck out Western medicine. It just says that there's more than just the physical, but you don't ignore that physical. And, you know, so if you're physically all right and your doctor says, yeah, that's all okay, and it can just be that your body's healing processes are just a bit slower. And looking at, and of course I'm not a doctor, that's why you never ignore, you don't just, so if you've been checked out and everything and they're saying, well, look, there's nothing physically wrong with you, have a look at what you've been doing lately. Have you been, of course, with COVID, a lot of people have been more confined to their homes. Easy to be rocked off balance. There's matters of isolation, social isolation, and even isolation within your home with people. You know, I'm lucky enough that, you know, I don't feel that. If hubby or I need to talk to each other about things, even though we make time to be separate from each other, otherwise one of us would end up like being on a CSI show as the victim. But we can still make time to talk to each other. If you've got, you know, family members around the house, and take time and talk to them. Look after your emotional health. And what the card says here is the little fairy, she's sitting on a mushroom, okay? And mushrooms can represent your soul and a shift from dark to light, okay? Ivy covers the ground beneath the fairies, and ivy is a symbol of wandering soul in search for enlightenment. So it also talks about being sure of the direction of your desires so that you are not trapped by your wanderings, okay? So maybe it's just been hard to direct your thoughts into one place. So maybe trying something like mindfulness. And we were speaking about mindfulness before, weren't we? And just sitting down and thinking as to why have I come to not feeling like myself, even if you write it down and stuff. I'll do something with you is I've been, you know, doing some counselling lately and stuff for anxiety, and I just came to a bit of a screeching halt with things this week, and I've realised I had. So I sat down and I opened up PowerPoint and I tried to, why have I come to a screeching halt? And I went through and I wrote some things down, and yeah, and so maybe just sitting down and writing some things out. Why do you feel off balance and things like that? What about it has been, is it physical, is it emotional? What have you been doing with your time? And maybe that can help clear up some things as well. There's lots of ways to clear your energy, including just getting some things that are whirling around in your head out of your head and onto paper. That's always
Mm-hmm.
good. But again,
yeah, it's whenever I get super stressed and I don't know what to do, I'm just almost to the point of pulling my hair out. That's when I grab a notebook and just start writing. And it may be curse words, or it may be a list of things I have to do, or it doesn't matter. It's just that action of getting some of the crap out of my head and onto paper that helps.
Whether it's through words or pictures, or
Yeah.
even if you're the crappiest artist on earth and you can only draw in dodgy stick figures, you can do that. And stuff. But it can be really hard to bring yourself back into when you're feeling out of balance, and it can sometimes be a bit scary. But just take some deep breaths and work forward, and if things don't improve and stuff, there's always the professionals you can go and see, like your doctor and things like that. If it's still, if you try everything, okay.
And Sheila, I would love to come on your channel. We're gonna have to work it towards doing that one of these days. Let's see. What I was thinking about was I've been stuck on the Oracle of Delphi because it's really been one of the things that I wonder about, and the other thing is that I wonder about that I will just at random times think about is the Mayan temples, pyramid type things. And so I thought about that. Does anybody have any questions? It doesn't have to be about the Mayan stuff or the Oracle of Delphi or anything. It's just I was trying to think of what questions we could ask, because I often don't get that many. So, but has anybody I've been trying to go through here and I've been looking and all that kind of stuff, but I haven't seen anybody's questions. Has anybody put up a question and I missed it?
About some place or some figure or some area that, has anyone got that? Thank you, Joji. I love all you guys too as well.
Oh yeah, she is the bestest lady. Bestest.
Oh shucks, I'm a blush. Thank you for that lovely compliment. I really do appreciate it.
Question. Let's see.
What would you advise as to how to connect to your guides? Oh wow. I actually had no idea what to do, and I went online and I found a site, and I can't remember what it is now, but they just had some simple things you can do. One is just like asking your guides for help with me every day when I do my little thing, and I do it most days. I have a little prayer saying, Universal Spirit and Guides of the highest truth and compassion, thank you for your help in my living a life of higher vibration. So I do that every day. And then I ask, when I'm doing readings, I also I open myself up to the energy, and I ask for access to their wisdom and knowledge. And I also do so with thanks, and sometimes you'll hear me go, thank you, guides, but I always thank you for even when I'm asking a question, thank you for your help in finding clarity, guidance, clarity, insight, objectivity. You might hear me after saying that before I, so yeah, yeah, and just say guides. There's lots of different sites where you can go to connect with your guides.
Mm-hmm.
Have I ever felt their presence? No, but I do know that I know when they've given me something, because I just know that my guides have done that, without having to physically have to feel a presence or hear a voice or anything like that. And I think it.
Well,
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, you talk to your guides, and you know, you don't have to talk out loud necessarily, but you talk to your guides, and you come to realize all the different. It's like it's like flipping a switch. You realize all the different choices that you almost made, but something stopped you, and you went this way. And you know, I mean, I have literally thought, oh, I'm not going to take that way home. I don't know why. And then I go over here, or thinking, oh, I better stop and maybe buy milk, even though we haven't had a gallon in the thing. And then I found out that there was a wreck on the road that I was going to go down. And you know, you I have more of a conversation now, but you realize that, as you know, if you look back, you realize that your guides have been talking to you in different ways for a long time, you know.
I think sometimes that intuition versus gut feeling, your intuition could be just that nudge from your guide. Whereas gut feeling is you know that something's critical, but then your intuition tells you how to deal with it. So, you know, it's a gut feeling is a warning, and intuition is how to deal with it, sort of thing, or what to take. And I think maybe sometimes that's the guides helping.
And I mean, you know, now sometimes I will talk to them out loud, because I just do. I'll say thank you, or things like that. But you know, it's not always. It's like a when you're going and you just stop and you think, oh no, I better do this first or whatever. But then, you know, so your guides, I hear things and all the time, and see things and things like that from my guides. But I think that so many times people don't realize that all those things, those near misses that you know made it through, it was your guides kind of telling you stop.
Yeah, don't go down that way. What are your 3 ways to love yourself and lift yourself up? Okay. Why do you want to take first shot at this one?
Sure. Well, I mean, Sheila got it right. Sleep well, eat well, and forgive yourself is you know, that's a stellar thing. But also, I think that we in order to lift ourselves up, we have to have gratitude. And the other thing is, when we take in our diet, and by diet I mean everything we put into our bodies, that is what I consider diet. So if you are doing a lot of putting a lot of crap that you're hearing, like the news and horror movies and the news and blah 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 blah, and then you're trying to be peace and one and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't compute. So you kind of need to limit the amounts of all that kind of stuff in order to, because it's just like eating crap. You're not going to be spiritually and mentally healthy if you consume a steady diet of negativity. And so, I just take that in pieces, and try to limit that. But I think the biggest way to lift yourself up is to live your life in gratitude. So what do you say?
Yeah, we all occasionally want a little bit more. We all occasionally want a bit of a hand up. But I look around me and I see the house we have and we've worked hard for it, and I'm happy with that. I've always had the opinion that the place you live in, it's just a place. Your home you carry with you wherever. And hubby, of course, can't understand that, but I love my house and I'm so grateful that we have it, And as long as we're together and happy, whatever happens, to me, it's as long as we're together and we come through hard times together and my family is healthy and well or doing the best they can, that's more important. Yeah, then the physical environment. Of course, you always want to be safe and you always want to be in a safe place, in a place you can call your own. And I'm so grateful for that. So, yes, gratitude does come into it.
Yeah.
For me, loving myself is when I feel that I'm falling down, whether with anxiety or depression, is seeking the help I need to tackle that. Not ignoring warning signs, having in the past. And that's a way of looking after myself. I'm crap with my diet. I'm crap with food, but I'm working on improving that and all that. And also, so yes, being grateful to having the place that we have. And being grateful for the opportunities we had in the past. Yes, we're in a different place now and all that, but we've had some wonderful opportunities to do some wonderful things in the past. Right. And to me, remembering them, I'm live.
You're a goddess. You don't need to
did you hear that? He said, I'm a goddess. I don't need to diet.
There you go. You need caffeine.
Oh, yeah, your goddess does need caffeine. Thank you. Here's the cup. Being appreciative of this, and also.
So noisy in there. Was it noisy?
No.
Did you hear me at all?
No. We did hear two geese trying to have sex while flying, but I'm not sure that's yours. He was exercising. So, no, it's fine. So that if there is something wrong, either physically or emotionally, addressing it. That's the biggest way you can love yourself.
Well,
addressing those things.
Actually, it just came to me. Being honest with yourself, being honest, completely and totally, brutally honest with yourself that I need help, whether it's if I'm physically down or if I'm emotionally down. just
Yes.
admitting to yourself, I need help, because we're raised up to be like, no, I have to do it all. I have to do it all. And no, you can't do it all, you know?
And,
So,
yeah, you can't do it all. And yes, give yourself a break. Give yourself a break and give the break to other people around you. And also, if somebody offers help, don't just shove it away and say, no, I can handle it. They offer help because they want to. And especially if it's family members, you know, pushing people away, it's like you're pushing away a very precious resource, and you're hurting them as well as hurting yourself. If you know that it's, some people, of course, only offer help because they expect something in return, but most people don't. And as for lifting myself up, I love old British comedies. I love old movies, 1950s creature features. Now, these are different from the modern day horror. I don't watch all those things like The Conjuring.
oh, yeah, Godzilla. I used to love the old Godzilla movies and the old, what is it? Claymation.
Yeah,
Things were the
1950s
monster.
creature features. Yeah, 1950s creature features. One movie from the 80s. It was an early Kevin Bacon one that we love. We can watch anytime with him and Fred Ward. It's called Tremors. Those things that don't take these things too seriously, and they give you a good laugh and maybe a little bit of fright. But I've never been a big horror movie person like Friday the 13th or those things. No, they're not. No, that's not.
Yeah,
that's not
of course.
That's just money churning. But laughter is so important. Find something to laugh at every day. And if you can share a laugh with somebody else, that makes it even better.
Yeah, I mean, in a loving way, to be honest with yourself, because I mean, you know, if I tell myself I'm horrible, I'm awful, I'm terrible, well, that is not being honest with myself, because I know, you know, that the monkey mind is the one telling me all the horrible things, and the honesty comes in when I say, you're human. You're not Superman. You're human. So let's back it up and look at the situation.
Yes, that's it exactly.
But yeah.
Now I'm thinking, oh wow, I've been an absolute real cow for the last 3 days to anybody who's come near me. You know, that's not the person I am, and that's not the person I want to be. Have a look at why that is, and it doesn't hurt to give yourself a bit of a kick up the butt occasionally. None of us are infallible, and some of us do need a kick up the butt. And unfortunately, some people might not have anyone else who do that for them. So, but I'm saying, what sort of person do I want to be? And reinforcing that as well. I've always been told I'm a happy, high energy person. But yeah, I have my down days. I have my down days and I have my times of anxiety. But to me, the way to live myself is find that laughter and find something that makes me laugh, even if it's not the most politically correct thing to watch, like Benny Hill or something like that.
Yeah.
Or Paul Hogan.
I used to love Benny Hill.
And the Paul Hogan shows, watching Delvine Delaney walk by with her tight shorts or whatever. Yeah, okay, they're not the most politically correct, but sometimes when you grow up watching things, and I love the Carry On movies. I grew up watching them. They're part of our family life, and I love them, and I get a laugh every time. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to laugh by yourself. Don't be thinking that you have to have other people around you to laugh. Hell no. I'll be watching something out here and I'll be laughing my guts out, and James will be on the other side of the house, and I'm probably thinking I'm having a bit of a When the critical voice starts to speak up in a way of sabotaging you, you're not good enough, I say, no, that is not true, go away. It has become, over time, very empowering to tell it no. Absolutely. That's something I'm facing at the moment, is that I've been letting my critical voices eat away at my self-respect in some areas, not with the tarot, but in other areas. And it's like, no. So, yeah, tell it no and challenge it. Well, that's not true and that's not true. And then write down a new statement. You know, like nothing's ever going to change, so why bother trying? Yes, things are going to change. You may not have full control of that, but you never know what each new day is going to bring. And the new statement being, you're up to these challenges, you're up to these changes. Yeah, it might take a while and you just have to be a little bit patient. So, yeah, so things like that. My guides and teachers have taught me that laughter is one of the fastest ways to raise your vibration. Absolutely. Absolutely. Laughter and, you know, huge, big erupted chaos in our life, big destructive things happen to all sorts of people. And a lot of people deal with it by finding something to to smile at, you know, and stuff. And that doesn't mean
and that's not always easy.
Going,
that's
are
not.
you mad? Your home's just fallen over and you're joking.
You know, so but you know, I guess because I don't know, maybe it's because I have had a artificial leg all my life, but humor has been my salvation many times, even when I was small.
Have you seen The Last Leg?
Have I seen what?
The Last Leg with Adam Hills and Alex Brooker and Josh Whittaker.
No,
it's a British show. Now, Adam Hills is an Australian. He's a comedian. He was born without his right foot, so he wears an artificial leg. And 2012 Olympics, the BBC of the show started a show called The Last Leg, so they could cover the Paralympics. And it was Adam Hills, Alex Brooker put in for it, and he was born with deformed arms and legs, so he's got artificial legs and stuff. And a young lad called Josh Whittaker, who is full body. He suffers from asthma and all that, and the three of them do the show. And honestly, it is just one of the most uplifting shows you can ever watch. And they look at stories and everything, but they do the Paralympics and stuff. They sent Rosie Jones over to cover Tokyo last year for the Paralympics and stuff, and she has cerebral palsy, and she's also a very funny comedian and all that. And so just because
I mean, when it's kind of like when you have a reality that you cannot change, you have to either laugh or cry, and I prefer to laugh. Yeah.
And to me, I was watching and laughing at Adam Hills for years and years and years. Never realised that he had an artificial leg, you know. And I'm like, oh wow, he's got an artificial leg. Cool. It changed. I mean, why? If somebody just because they're missing a limb or something, or they've had an accident and they've lost something, or they're born and have something, doesn't mean they're not a whole people, that you're not a whole person. You are. You are a whole person. Yeah. It's just, you know, that's it. You're a whole person. You know, being a person isn't about how many arms or legs or things you have. Yeah, it does help to have the full complement, of course. But I mean, nowadays
the way I look at it is, we are all souls in human sacks. And so, you know, we are all souls having a human experience. So, you know, that the soul that is within everyone is worthy of love.
Here and here is where the person is made up, not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, here and here is what makes a person, not this. You know, in
Yeah.
here and here, I look like Elle McPherson. I never look like Elle McPherson. No.
Well,
She's
I'm
small.
sorry.
She's tall and skinny.
Yeah, tall and skinny. I've never been that. Neither one, tall nor skinny.
Okay, Karen Ann, doing okay. You've been very cheery for the past few days, trying to keep positive. You had a loss, darling. Oh. Karen Ann, what have you been going
Why don't
through?
we?
Think, you know.
Why don't we?
Like a card for Karen.
Yeah, why don't we pull a card for Karen, and then why don't we have just a few minutes of everybody together collectively? We send Sophie. She has COVID. She's still talking to me. It's you know, it's okay, but her whole family has been hit. You know, her brother and her nieces. And let's just maybe have a few minutes after we give Karen her card to kind of just send them some love. Okay.
I don't know what's happened, Karen, but obviously it's impacted you and your family. So all best wishes and as much healing as we can send you. Okay.
Yeah.
There.
Look at this. Beautiful. I love these cards. And what this says is autumn. Release the old and rest. And you know, so many times we think we've managed to heal past trauma, but it keeps, you know, raising its ugly head. And we have to, even if it's only a little bit, you don't have to do the whole thing. Even if it's only a little bit, if you can let it go and release it, write things down on a piece of paper and burn it. Write it down on a piece of paper and tear it into tiny, tiny shreds, cutting it into tiny, tiny shreds, and put it in water. And then put it around your plants. Destroy it completely. For the visual, the fire is often better, but that may not be possible for you. But releasing the old, releasing old pain, releasing old trauma, even if you only release a piece of it, so often that gives you breathing room, and then you can rest and rejuvenate. So this card, that's a pretty good card.
Okay, I've got the Enchanted Blossom deck here, gorgeous deck, and the card I've drawn out is called Inspiration, and the flower is lupine, and it's got a butterfly. They're actually mixes of butterflies and dragons, but the butterfly is the goatweed leaf wing. Okay, now lupinus, it says here, means of wolves. Long ago, this plant was thought to sap the nutrients out of the soil, but this was proven to be false during Roman times, when they began using the flower for fertilizer and to add nutrients over farmed soil. Okay. Lupine is a legume and its seeds have been eaten for thousands of years. Okay. It blooms every summer. this flower. And it inspires you to take some quiet time and listen to your inner self for insight and inspiration. But one of the messages I'm getting of this is that this plant, this flower, was once thought to be devastating. It was thought to suck everything out of the soil and leave it useless and leave it drained. Hard times can do that to us. It can leave us feeling useless and drained. But they were wrong about this. What lupine does is it provides essential nutrients. Hard times are horrible. And loss and things that can happen, they are horrible. But in dealing with them, every time we have to deal with something like that, we do inevitably learn something about ourselves and the other people around you. And that can help in build up your belief in yourself and belief in the other people around you. It doesn't take away the sting of what happened, and it doesn't mean you should just forget what happened. But it shows us what we are made of.
Yeah.
And it often forces us to dig deep inside ourselves to find that inspiration that will keep us going. So we can bloom after a fall or after an autumn or a winter experience that has drained us. We can bloom in the future. And in blooming, if there's been losses or something, the people that you lose, most of them would not want you to not bloom ever again. They would want you to keep going and keep blooming and keep growing in strength. So be inspired. If you've lost one, be inspired by their memory. If there's been a loss that's maybe not a loss of a person, but still a tragic loss, be inspired by the memory of what you had and what you can have again in the future. Okay? So be inspired.
I love those cards.
They're called the Enchanted Blossoms. They're by Carla Minnow, and there's 44 of them. And they use flowers and butterflies, but the butterflies have been turned into little dragons, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I do absolutely love them. So, yeah. I have so many cards, and since rearranging this to have all my cards here, it's so much easier to just grab the deck. Hi, Faye. Crows are very loyal. If you help them, they will bring you shiny little trinkets. But if you hurt one of them, the murder will be informed, and watch out as you're targeted for a load of crap. I think that's the same with magpies as well. But
Did you see what MK Karen had said? She said, "Grateful, Chrissy. Thank you for your heart."
That's all right, my
Sweet.
darling. It's okay to struggle
Sweet.
too, sweetheart. It really is okay
Yeah.
to struggle. It really is. Don't feel that you're any less because you're struggling. You're not.
Mhm.
You know? And yeah.
Mims asks, what was the name of the deck again, Chrissy?
Oh, this deck is the Enchanted Blossoms by Carla Morrow. Okay, the Enchanted Blossoms by Carla Morrow. And they are made by, they're an Australian deck. And if you go to www. Blue Angel Online, all one word. So blueangelonline.com.
All right.
So they're printed in Australia. They're by an Australian, and they're beautiful. I absolutely adore them.
Okay, now why don't we kind of visualize our thoughts, our feelings, our send the Reiki, everything to Sophie and her family, and kind of try to do it collectively, and maybe it'll have a little bit more oomph. Okay.
Okay. So how about we take a minute to send out white healing energy to Sophie and her family, and to all others who are suffering from COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also, like, for myself, I like to send out yellow positive energy.
Mm-hmm. Okie dokie. Well, I'm going to. I told Sophie I'd send her quite a bit of Reiki tonight, but it's just, I feel so sorry for everyone who has had so many family members, because I've had a bunch, but I know people who've had, it's like they've lost people, and they've had bouts of over and over again with COVID, and go through one branch of the family, and then go through another, and then go through another, and then they're back at the first branch that got it, and you wonder where it's going to end, don't you?
Yeah, true. Absolutely. Dozen cats for me has to run on away, so it's all right.
Well, I think we probably need to call it a night anyway.
Absolutely, it's getting late over there for you.
Yeah, but I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that you came over and saw me.
Absolutely.
I love you. I love you.
My darling, thank you. And it was my pleasure. It was my pleasure to come on, and it was my pleasure to help and comfort people in whatever way I can and stuff. And yeah, as I said, a lot of people are struggling through this, not just physically with the illness itself or seeing people around them, but emotionally and everything. It is okay to struggle. If you continue to keep struggling and you can't get out of it, there are places you can go and do get some help and stuff. There's nothing wrong with seeking help. Don't think that I'm not going to go and see anyone because people will just think I'm weak or stuff. No, it means you're strong. You're strong enough to realise that you can't. It takes a lot of strength to admit you can't do something on your own, and you maybe need a little bit of help. I know that from personal experience. And if anyone judges you for that, tell them to get stuffed.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I love you all, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Katie, for having me on today. Back at you. I'll be back tomorrow on my channel and all that. But thank you again for having me, and it was very, very lovely. And thank you for the questions. I'm honoured that you asked me such wonderful questions and stuff. So we will do this again, my dear. I really enjoyed it. And, yeah. So I'll be back.
All right.
10 o'clock tomorrow my time. So, okay, bye-bye.
Okay. Bye bye.